What is going on, everyone? Nathan coming at you with a YouTube video today, a bit of a discussion video on the showdex extension and an interesting debate it brought up. I released this video a couple days ago talking about how it's literally game changing and talking about how having these calcs at just an instant, immediate impact is a huge change to random battles. Not only is it easy to have this information quickly and more readily available than if you plugged it in slowly into a damage calculator, but having it immediately update, immediately quick, you can scroll through everything so quickly. It's the speed and the ease at which it makes information that changes your decision making at a fundamental level, even if you're a really excellent player. More importantly, if you're a bad player, it's going to jump up your skill immediately. Instead of taking years to learn this skill on the fly, this showdex function just does it all for you so easily and so readily, right? And that's one thing in overuse, but it's even worse in random battles, where a huge part of that skill at the top level is understanding what sets an opponent could possibly have. But once again, showdex just kind of gives you the information for free, and it just goes, here you are. You know, we don't know for a fact this is what it's running, but it's a very good chance, and it gives you a huge amount of information in a metagame that's based on withholding information, honestly. So this did create a bit of debate, you know. Some people said it's kind of cheating to have this information readily available. I don't know if I would go that far with, because again, at top level, so many players are calcing anyways. Even with random battles, there's a whole random battles tab for it, especially overused. So many people are just every single turn, if they need to check something, getting that available. It is better to have it so quickly and easily plugged in with showdex, but I don't know if cheating, it's just streamlining a pretty core part of the battle gameplay to an insane degree. But with random battles, yeah, you know what, maybe it is a little bit cheating. But the other thing that people take issue with is, again, that idea of, I've taken so long to develop the skill of mine, why do beginners just get to have that immediately off the rip for free? And you know, for somebody who's a fighting game player, this is kind of a familiar argument for me. There's been a lot of debate in the Super Smash Bros. Melee scene, but whether L canceling, which is a really difficult but fundamental aspect to playing the game, should be built into the game for free, and just kind of like, it doesn't really add anything to the gameplay. It's just a barrier of skill purely for the sake of being a barrier of skill. But the same thing goes for other fighting games. Like if anyone's ever played Tekken, Korean backdashing, it's a game that it's an aspect that means you can't really get into the game. You can't really gel and flow with the movement until you have that down. Whereas something with Street Fighter, I lose Street Fighter, and I pretty much have the same movement as a top level player. Yes, there's finesse, yes, there's spacing, blah, 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 but I can physically do everything there is to do. But a Korean backdash or a wave dash or an L cancel in Super Smash Bros. Melee is fundamentally a barrier of skill that means the opponent is playing a different game than what I am. And again, that kind of is what we're talking about here, where it's just, if somebody could just give that to you and take away all that work that other people put in, just give it to you for free, is that worth it? Yeah, here's a couple comments that we have on it. Stuff like this should you banned off Showdown. This one, again, is just a bit of an ignorant comment in my opinion, just because maybe they don't know that the regular calc exists. Again, it's just streamlining and something that already exists. And something until it's automatically included, it's cheating. This is tough because, once again, the calc function is already introduced with just a command like that, right? And it's just doing their job better, honestly. No shade to the Showdown devs. It's a kind of breakthrough technology. I don't blame them for not having it ready, but it does change the game. And the comparison I feel like people aren't making to it is Showdown is already so good at taking away the unnecessary difficulty aspects, the unnecessary skill barriers. It's one of the big differences I find in VGC and in Pokemon. So if we play this game out, I'm going to demonstrate what I mean by it. Pick Tyranitar against this Walking Wake. And there's a couple of things right away that Showdown does that we kind of take for granted at this point. First of all, if I want to know speed tiers, I know for a fact that if it's a max speed Tyranitar, it says right under the hover thing, speed 114 to 243. Because my Walking Wake has, if you hover over here, 200 to 348. So no matter what, knowing that I have a max speed Walking Wake, I know I have to be this Tyranitar. So that's a classic function of Pokemon Showdown. It's a huge part of random battles. It's this idea of just knowing, like, I don't have to, you know, have all these speed tiers memorized. I don't need all this BS. Sure, there's an element of it when it comes to, like, speed boosting items and abilities, yada yada, but like, for the most part, on a basic level, I don't need to know that. And on a secondary function, I've always used the weak function quite a bit, because I'm okay with the type chart, but I'm not amazing. So you go to weak Tyranitar, and again, we can see right here that it has weaknesses to bug, fairy, fighting, bolded for double, blah blah blah. Gives you all that information for free, right? We also have Sandstorm. It tells you for 5 to 8 turns how long it's going to last. It even tells you like the 8 turns in regards to it possibly having a smooth rock. If you press this and stealth rocks are up or spikes are up, and you hover it over the turn 1 thing, it gives you a ton of information of what's going on in the battle. If there's terrain, if there's rocks, if there's webs, blah 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 blah. Gives you all of that. You hover all these moves. You don't have to just instantly memorize them. it gives you all that information. You hover over Slow King. I don't need to, like I do in VGC, go to Slow King, check the set, be like, wait, how much depth does it have again? I just have all this information available to hover. So long point, just essentially going towards Showdown is so streamlined to taking away the kind of unnecessary BS of Pokemon, all the trappings, is getting to the core decision-making aspects, which is why Showdown is so, well, this is also judging based on 1v1 versus 2v2s, like VGC is, but Showdown is so based on the long-term game plan. Nobody cares about what's happening right now, because it's so obvious what's going to happen in this immediate turn. Whereas in VGC, there's 10 things that could be happening. They could have electric terrain up, they could protect, they could swap out, they could send in a default, intimidate user, which changes everything. So what's happening immediately in a Showdown game is already meant to be obvious. And what showdex is doing, or calcdex, whatever you want to call it, hellodex. See, that's so weird. They have 4 names for it. Showdex here, hellodex here, calcdex here. I guess it's just a quirk, but I keep tripping over my tongue as a result of it. But the point is, it's another step in reducing that barrier to entry. And that's kind of the theme of this video, I guess, if there is one, which is I feel like we as a community don't talk about how insane the Pokemon Showdown barrier to entry is. So for starters, let's take a look at it this way. If you want to play Pokemon Showdown competitively, at the very basic level, you need to play Pokemon. And probably want to play multiple games of Pokemon. There's a couple of people out there who like stopped playing at Gen 4 and then just learned everything else after the fact through Showdown. But the vast majority of people who play this game are people who have played every single game and already know a great deal about everything. So if they come up against a Talonflame on the ladder, they're not stunned and like, holy crap, what is a Talonflame? They know the new games. They've played Beyond when they were 10 years old, like most of us have, and they've kept up with it, right? So that's like a very, very like, you must be at least this tall. And then from there, you can actually start to get into the insane parts about Pokemon Showdowns. If you're playing singles, then you can start to learn about the importance of Stealth Rocks. Then you can start to learn about why switching is so important, even though it's not that good in the games. Then you can start to learn about EVs and IVs and move pools and natures and things like that. Then you can start to learn about mechanics that don't really matter in the games, like Swift Swim and Rain, and weather mechanics that you wouldn't in the games. In this generation, there's photosynthesis. There's unique gimmicks that are more important. All this stuff adds up. So the barrier of entry in Pokemon Showdown, I think, is like hilarious. And this is something I think about all the time in regular life, because people find out I have a YouTube channel and they'll watch and they'll say, Nathan, like I tried to watch your video, but I'll be honest, bro, like all that went straight over my head. It's like you're speaking a different language. And I always say like there's no point. And these are people again who played Pokemon. They know what I'm talking about. They've done it before. But we always take for advantage the amount of like honestly encyclopedic knowledge you need to play this game at a high level. You need to know probably 60 different Pokemon off the top of your head. You need to know all their abilities, what they do, what their movesets are, what the natures are. Like it's insane. And if Showdex takes a little bit of load off of that and can give newcomers one more easier step in all this to make it just an easier process to get into the game, that's fine by me. Because as Pokemon grows and more people get into it and more people are looking to play the game at a competitive level, and they don't want to, you talk about barrier entry. You don't want to breed a Pokemon for 40 hours. You don't want to, grind team comps. You want to be able to just like quickly put it in and have fun and pick up and play. Then Showdown becomes a very appealing option. But the biggest barrier to entry with our game right now is just the pure knowledge aspect of it. Because so much of Pokemon Showdown is so easy. I can get in this to a friend of mine. They just play.pokemonshowdown.com. They press battle and then they're going, right? So if we can do anything to expedite that process and get more people into our community, I think it's for the best, right? It's the same with anything else. We should be striving to grow our community and to lower the barriers of entry, not maintain them just for, reasons of, well, I had to work hard. I had to learn it. I think we should be looking to help the next generation of players, not looking to hurt them. So, let's all relax a little bit. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you next time.